All right, so here's the beginning part, which is where a lot of people spent most of their time in the previous workshop. A lot of people spent almost all their time doing the Linux journey. So if you don't know binary, you can go here, and this might be fun. So you have binary games. Now, there's lessons here that explain binary to you. So for example, here's base 2 nibbles. If you have 4 bits, the number on the right is the number of ones, then the number of 2s, 4s, and 8s. And so there are only 16 possible nibbles. If all ones gives you 15, and 10, 10 gives you 10 because it's 8 plus 2. And 1, 1 is 3, that's 1 plus 2. So you know that's nibbles. And so if you want to do this, there's a little game here where it asks you to solve some of these. So 1, 1 is 3, and 10, 11 is 11. And anyway, if you get 10 in a right, you'll get a flag. So H101 will show you a flag. And when you get the flag, you go to Submit Flags up here, and you choose the challenge, H101, put in your name and the flag value, and then you'll end up on the score. So that's one thing you can do to practice binary games. And I wrote these a few years ago and gave them to my students. And then I was teaching at a conference, and one of the students said, "Those games are just running in JavaScript in my browser. I can see the source code. I can totally cheat on those games." And I said, yes, you can cheat on those games, and that would be awesome. And so I made a version where you had to answer 100 right. And then I was teaching a bunch of college teachers, and they were actually doing 100 reps. And I said, no, I never thought anybody would actually do 100 reps. I did that to make you rebel and cheat, but they were too honest. So here's the games with 200 reps. And I highly encourage you to cheat. Now, there are a lot of ways to cheat on these games. The simplest thing, of course, is just view the source code. So you can go to View Page Source in your browser, and you can read through the source code and see how the game works, and you can find the flag for the simple ones just sitting right there. But if you're using a modern browser like Firefox or Chrome, not Internet Explorer, although if someone tells me there's some version of this in Edge, you've got developer tools. So if you view Developer Tools and JavaScript Console, you get a pane here where you can see the JavaScript. Now, if you look at the source code, right at the top, there's a variable called num needed, which is 200. So you could just print that out with console.log num needed. That will let me see what the num needed is. And right now it's 200, so I could just change that to 2, for example. And now the game will be much easier to play. I only have to get 2 right before I get the flag. There are many other things you could do. You could change the scoring engine so every answer is considered right. You could just find the flag directly and print it out. You can change the game any way you like. And so you should totally be able to cheat on these. And I tried to make each one a little harder. But anyway, so this is if you actually want to learn binary, and this is if you want to practice cheating in JavaScript, which is a big issue. And so that's the first thing. Then the next thing, which was very popular last time, is Linux Journey. Let me just close a bunch of my extra tabs here because I'm getting confused. All right, Linux Journey, this is wonderful. For years, I've had students who don't know any Linux at all, and they only use Windows, and they're sort of confused. And Irvin found this. Someone wrote a wonderful training product, Linux Journey. You don't even need to log in or anything. There's a whole series of lessons that are very nice. So here you get a little page to read that tells you the basics, and then you even have a question to answer. So these are very nice. They explain Linux distributions, a summary of all the major distributions, and later versions take you through the command line and how to manipulate text and how to manipulate users and permissions. And if you don't know your command line Linux, this is definitely the place to start. And they have these little questions you can answer here. And if you want to get points on my scoreboard, just put them here. So this is the first series, first page, and this would be the answer to question number 3. So on my scoreboard, that would be 103. So you go Submit Flags, you choose the LJ series for Linux Journey, and then that would be flag 103 to put in. So that was very popular last time. And if you want to go further, the Bandit Challenges have you log into a series of servers. So you can use a Linux or Windows machine, Linux or Mac easily. In a Windows machine, you'll have to use PuTTY to connect to SSH. But if you have, I've got a Mac here, so I've got SSH in default. So you start by SSHing into their server, Bandit 0 at banditlabsoverthewire.org on port 2220. And the first password is Bandit 0, the same as the username. And once you've logged in, now the next password is here somewhere. If you just do ls to see the files, you'll find a file there called readme. And if you print out that file, which in Linux is cat, then it will contain the password for the next one. So now you log in as bandit1 with this password, and you'll find another flag. And each time you go, the flag is harder to find. It's hidden in a file that is more and more difficult to print out. And you have to practice using Linux commands to search for things. And by the way, if you Google the Bandit Challenges, these things have been around for decades, and there are write-ups available on the web. I highly encourage you to use them. I only got to level 7 or 8 before I had to start getting help. So don't be shy. You know, you're here to learn. You're not here to like compete and win a prize. There is no prize. So, you know, if you need to look something up, look it up, and we are here to help you. So that's more advanced than the Linux journey, practicing Bash command line. And if you want to use PowerShell, here's the PowerShell version of the same thing. You have a series of challenges here. The Century and Cyborg are the ones I've included in my scoring engine, and they work the same way. You connect to a Windows server with SSH, and then you have to execute some PowerShell commands to generate the flag, the password for the next level. And so you practice doing essential Windows activities with PowerShell. And again, you can put them on this scoreboard. And I see here's someone already solving the Linux journey. I see the most recent thing solved here. So that's the first group of challenges to solve here. And I'm going to put up that video.
So a couple